Hello, insomniacs, fellow night owls, or maybe you're an overnight driver, maybe security somewhere, or at the plant. Anyone pulled in the graveyard, welcome to the night shift. Hello, listeners and or watchers. Welcome back or welcome to the Night Shift Volumes, where I read stories from a Reddit thread that asked what's the creepiest thing that's ever happened on the graveyard shift. So if you're ready, we're going to begin. I was working as campus security. I had to close down the main law school building. The building was downtown in a major city and was old enough that the tunnels underneath it were used in the Underground Railroad. Think dirt floors and wooden crossbeams, like you would imagine a mine. There was work going on in the tunnels, and as part of my routine, I had to go around and check to make sure that the building is vacant. I climbed down the ladder into the tunnels. All the contractor lights were off. I said, "Hello, anyone here?" a few times and shined my flashlight around. Silence for a moment. Then I hear what sounds like a radio tune from the 1920s coming from the tunnel. I immediately climbed the ladder, padlocked the trapdoor, armed the motion sensors, and left. That was submitted by Timothy Dexter's Ghost. Okay. Next up, I was working remotely. It was late at night. I was alone in my house working. Something felt strange, so I went about checking security cameras and saw the rocking chair of a recently passed relative rocking all alone on its own in the living room. That's submitted by Electronic N3310. Next up, I used to work at Taco Bell. I was closing that night with other coworkers, and finally it was time to go. We turned off the outside lights. Got a call on the restaurant phone as soon as we turned them off. My manager answered, and we heard a man speak. I vividly remember him saying, "I know there are only girls in there. I've been watching for a while. Don't come out. I'll be waiting for you." So we were all very afraid, but we were hoping it was a prank call, since sometimes that would happen. Usually teens, young kids. I looked out in our lobby, and there was a tall man, wearing a blue-collared shirt tucked in, standing at the door, facing the other way. We were terrified. We called the cops. We saw the cops speak to him. They asked him to leave. We never saw him again. Submitted by Angelus41. Next up. I used to work in facilities on a campus while attending school. Each of us took turns doing weekend night shifts. A co-worker and myself were on the top floor of the oldest building around 11 p.m. And we were the only ones in the building. We heard an alarm on or for the exterior doors. We walked past this door that led to an outside deck that is locked and rarely used and offers no access to outside people. Remember, we were on the 4th floor. As my coworker and I walked by, we hear a loud and distant knock coming from the outside. We stopped and looked at each other, and it knocked again. Because the door was locked and armed, we couldn't open it. We ran outside and told security, who then said they would go and check it. Then he said, "This happens every night. Knocks on the 4th floor. We look, but no one is ever there." Submitted by Thornbellina. Next one. I closed up church one night after a fundraising event. Everyone left besides 4 men who were outside. I checked under all the chairs, walked through rows, turned off lights, and closed the doors. When I walked away, I heard a woman singing from inside. It was faint, but started to get louder. I was so scared, so I booked it. Thankfully, the men came with me to check inside again. They actually chuckled when I told them about what happened, saying ghosts enjoy singing and is friendly. That's by Eugenius Sachs. Next up, I was working at a fast food restaurant. It was 9 p.m. We were closing and cleaning. The doors were locked from the outside. You couldn't enter. When the back door opens, there's an alarm that makes a sound to show it's been opened. It's not a police alarm. Well, that one night, the alarm went off. All doors were closed, and we saw nobody inside besides the workers. Submitted by Cool Kid 16. Lastly, I used to work in an overnight vet clinic, and late one night we didn't have any patients there. Myself and myself and my coworker were cleaning, and we kept thinking we heard a bark, which is not uncommon, but it was 3 a.m. Out of the corner of my eye, I see a dash down the hallway and then vanish. I looked at my coworker, who was sheet white. That was submitted by Spoopy Season 6. Thanks for listening and or watching, and as always, you have a great night at work.